Hey guys, Kimmy Vapes here. Thanks for clicking on my video. Today I've got an e-liquid review for you. But before we get into reviewing the e-liquids, I just want to mention real quick that currently the FDA has opened their commenting period on e-liquid flavoring. So please, if you're watching this video and you haven't already, click down in the description box. There'll be a link to the form where you can go ahead and submit your comments about how e-liquid flavorings helped you on your vaping journey. Now, let's get into what I'll be reviewing. I have two e-liquid lines sent to me from Beyond Vape. The first e-liquid line is going to be called the Juicy Ohms line, and that one is touted as a low milligram sage nicotine salt line. It will come in 0, 3, and 6 milligram options and 30 ml or 60 ml bottles, and all of the e-liquids are 70 VG, 30 PG. The next line that I'll be reviewing today is the Aria Elixers line, which is a high milligram nicotine salt line, which is also 70 VG, 30 PG, and come in 2 milligram options of 35 and I believe 50 milligram nicotine salt. So let's go ahead and start with the high milligram line first. Let me go ahead and I'll pull up some of the information for you. All right, and here is the Fall Delight. Now, I have this in the high milligram nicotine salt line, which is 35 or 50 milligram, but you can also get the Fall Delight in 0, 3, and 6 milligram of the Sage Nicotine low milligram nicotine salts. Now, they describe this as the usher in the days of autumn colors and piles of fallen leaves with a custard tobacco flavor that perfectly holds onto everything that's supposed to be rich. Bold tobacco inhale with a creamy vanilla exhale. So let's go ahead and take a vape on that. And I have this in my Pico Baby. Now this is the 35 milligrams, so it does have quite a throat hit on it. But I will say the flavor description on this is very accurate. It is a very bold tobacco with a nice rich and creamy vanilla exhale. You get that custard note at the end, and all throughout is that nice bold tobacco flavor. I think this is a beautiful tobacco for people that like tobaccos with more sweetness to them. If you're into rye fours, I think this is a great tobacco. Okay, so next up is the Spring Delight, which is right here. And as they have it described on their website, it is a Spring Delight, takes a bucket of orchard picked apples and splashes them together with tart raspberries and sweet blackberries ripened by the rays of soft spring sun to create a flavor worthy of your favorite hammock. Relax and enjoy. Now, the Spring Delight line I do have in 3 milligram sage nicotine salts. And right away, I noticed that there's a very nice smoothness to the vape compared to doing the high nicotine salts as I did in the Fall Delight. This one definitely has the smoothness that you would expect with a 3 milligram. I would almost not be able to tell that this had nicotine in it. The other thing I like about Spring Delight is up until trying this line, I have never liked apple e-liquids. Any e-liquids with apples, they always come off to me as being more like a apple scented candle than they do of like actually taking a bite of apple. But whatever apple they're using in this one, it blends beautifully with those blackberries and raspberries, and it kind of sits in the back, just adding a juicy note to it. So I get more of the blackberries and the raspberries in the front, and that apple just adding a little touch of juicy note in the back, and it's been really enjoyable. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is the Aria Elixir Summer Delight, and this is in the new Sage low milligram nic salts. I have this in 3 milligrams, and let's go ahead and see how they describe that. Okay, they describe the Summer Delight as an everyday has sunshine with Aria Elixir's new Summer Delight. Tart bursts of citrusy lemonade, perfectly balanced with a right ruby red strawberry puree, a swirl of sugar, and just a nuance of raspberries to punch up the sweet and sour of this exquisite concoction onto a whole other level. All right, and I'll be vaping the Summer Delight in my Joytech Penguin, or I'm sorry, the Joytech Adopat Dolphin. Again, at 3 milligram, it's very smooth, almost as if there's no nicotine at all. But because this is nicotine salt, I will say vaping low milligram nicotine salts, you get that satisfaction right away from the nicotine salt. And you, even though you may not feel like you're vaping the nicotine because it is so smooth, you definitely get that satisfaction hit of nicotine going through your bloodstream. Really beautiful. More of like a pink lemonade is the flavor that I get there, and the strawberry is very forward in there, the lemon in there with the little bit of raspberries. The tartness maybe is where I'm getting raspberry, but for the most part this tastes like a really nice, juicy, delicious pink lemonade. And not overly sweet. Even though they say a swirl of sugar in there, it's not overly sweet to me. I don't get that syrupy sugar flavor that I get from a lot of other e-liquids that have a lot of sweetener. These don't seem to have a lot, if any, sweeteners in them at all. Another really good one from the Aria Elixirs line. Now, the only one that I'm not vaping here today in my e-liquid testing is they did send me the Aria Elixirs Winter Delight, which is described as an extreme menthol. Now, I'm not really a menthol vapor, so I'm not going to go ahead and try this one because I know I won't like it, and I will probably end up coughing because whenever I have extreme menthol vapes, they make me cough terribly. So this one I'm going to vape forward to somebody that I know likes menthol flavors. All right, so let's go into now the Juicy Ohms line. The first Juicy Ohms line I have here is the Juicy Ohms Oh Mother in 3 milligram sage nicotine salts. Let's go ahead and go to that one. All right, so the Juicy Ohms Oh Mother is described as a succulent concoction of honeydew, apple, and papaya, topped off with just the right measure of creaminess to finish it all. Oh, sorry, I burped there. All right, so I've got the Juicy Ohms here. I'm vaping this on the Drop RDA on top of my Minikin V2. It's a 0.2 ohm coil, and I'm vaping it at 60 watts. Right away, I get that honeydew melon and papaya. Again, the apple, they did the apple so beautifully in this that I don't get any of the off notes from the apple, or like I have, you know, like vaping an apple candle or anything. I think the apple's back there just to add juiciness to it, and the honeydew and the papaya blend beautifully together. Now, this is more of an exotic tropical flavor. If you're somebody that doesn't like melons or papaya, steer clear of this one because it is very heavy on honeydew melon and papaya, and it has a nice creaminess to those melons as well. Another beautifully done flavor, in my opinion. I really love this one. Okay, and the next one that I'm going to be vaping is the Juicy Ohms Ohm Sweet Ohm. Now, Juicy Ohms Ohm Sweet Ohm is in 3 milligrams sage nicotine salts, and it's described as Ohm Sweet Ohm is as close to a big bowl of fruity cereal that you can get without a time machine. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys here the e-liquid level. That's all that's left in this bottle. So needless to say, we already know that I really like this e-liquid because I almost finished it off before doing this review. I just could not get enough of this one. So let's go ahead and take a vape. and it is like taking a big bite of fruity cereal. You get that really creamy, milky note in there, a lot of milkiness to this, as well as a balance of those fruity flavors. I don't feel like any one flavor is more dominant than the other. I get citrus notes in there, I get berry notes in there, and it all balances beautifully with that milky note. A lot of fruity cereal vapes like this, I tend to find that they just taste like the lemon and lime, and I don't get any other of the fruity notes that I would get from eating the cereal. This one to me is a great, perfect balance, and obviously I love it because I almost finished the whole bottle off. So if you're someone that really likes fruity vapes, I would definitely say try this one out. I think it does a beautiful job of mimicking that fruity cereal that we all love. Now let's go on to the next one, and this one is Wacky Pony. So let's go ahead and read the description of Wacky Pony on the website. So Juicy Ohms Wacky Pony featuring sage, nicotine salts, and 3 milligram. Don't be afraid to show your wacky side once you get a taste of this off-the-wall flavor. It's a refreshing blend of citrus and tropical fruits that make you say, oh yeah. So one of the things that I didn't mention on any of the other bottles, but this is something that they do on all of their bottles, both in the Aria line and the Juicy Ohms line. They include what notes you should be getting from the e-liquid. So here it says on the bottle, tropical fruit and citrus blend. So that I'm vaping here in the Sandstone QIU with a drop RDA on top. Again, 0.2 ohms at 60 watts. This one is the most interesting vape to me because, again, with all of the low milligram sage nicotine salt, it's almost as if you wouldn't know that there's nicotine in it because it's very smooth, no throat hit. But with this one, because of the citrus notes and the tropicals in there, I do get a little bit of a throat hit. And there's almost, it's a very kind of, I suck at descriptions, by the way, you guys. It's almost like a greenery type flavor in there, and I don't know if that's coming from the citrus or the tropical. I see pictures of pineapples on here, so it definitely could be something coming from the pineapple, but I get like a green, almost underripe note in there, but it's not bad. I actually find it enjoyable because it makes that vape more fresh to me. I'm not getting any off-putting notes, like any chemical notes to the citruses, but I do get, like I said, that bit of green taste there, almost as if a little bit of the rind was pureed up into this. Very well balanced between the pineapples and the other fruits that are in there, the citrus, they all balance very well together. I think this is a very light, citrusy vape. If you're somebody that doesn't want something that's too overpowering, I feel like this is a really good one, and I feel like it would probably be even more mellow in a sub-ohm tank since I'm vaping this on an RDA, because that usually gives me the best idea of the full flavor, how strong it may be. And as I put it in sub-ohm tanks and smaller mouth-to-lung devices, that flavor starts to wane a little bit. So I always like to test on an RDA, and I think this is a really great flavor that would get even more lighter in a sub-ohm tank. So if you ask me, these are all really great flavors. Not all of them are in my flavor profile. Another one that Juicy Ohms sent me here is the Juicy Ohms Ohm Run, which is described as a sour candy. On the side here, it says it's a strawberry, watermelon, and apple sour ribbon candy. Now, I don't do sour ribbon candies or really any type of candies. They aren't in my flavor profile. So I didn't review this one because I feel like since that is completely out of my flavor profile, I wouldn't really give you guys a good idea of whether or not it hits the mark on replicating that sour candy, since I haven't ate sour candies and I don't vape sour candies. So I couldn't really be a good person to tell you whether or not this one hits the mark. But judging on all of the other ones and how well done they are, I would expect no different from this one. But anybody out there interested in candy vapes, just in case you do know, there are sour candy flavors made by Juicy Ohms as well. So that wraps up this e-liquid testing today, and that is my thoughts and opinions on the Juicy Ohms line and the Aria Elixers line. So if you like this video, guys, give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, hit that subscribe button. Please don't forget to go down below and click that link to go to the FDA comment period so you can leave your comment and let them know how important all of these flavors that we have today are for your vaping journey. Thanks again for watching, you guys. Bye-bye.